Sometimes the soul cries out, yet no sound comes. It stands amid the rush of life, trying to understand why everything seems hollow, though it is full, why it feels lonely among people, why the heart stays thirsty, though it drinks many worldly pleasures. Welcome back to our channel. This question is not new. More than 9 centuries ago, a man in Baghdad named Abu Hamid al-Ghazali stood before the same emptiness. He was a renowned scholar surrounded by students and followers possessing what a person could hope for: prestige, wealth, and knowledge. Then one day he awoke to a frightening truth. His heart was empty. Al-Ghazali says in Al-Munkid min ad-Dalal, "I was in the vigor of youth, seeking the truth of things, exploring hidden doctrines, and probing the secrets of every group, until I almost lost myself in the maze of inquiry, and I found no peace in my heart." Do you feel this now? Do you keep searching, trying to fill the emptiness with more things, more wins, more ties, more achievements? Yet no matter what you add, something is missing, a quiet voice saying, "This is not enough." Al-Ghazali learned that the issue was not a lack of things, but the nature of the heart itself. The heart was not made to be satisfied by this world, but by something deeper, more true, more lasting. It seeks the truth God, a real meaning that gives its life a reason. How do we reach that meaning? How do we fill the shadow of emptiness that trails us? Today, we will walk with Al-Ghazali on the path from emptiness to fullness, from loss to finding, from silence to the final word that heals every wound. There is a moment in every life when one wakes to a bitter fact: everything once thought important is not truly important. Al-Ghazali met that moment at the height of his fame. He taught at the Nizamiya in Baghdad, the greatest school of his era, with hundreds of students before him noting every word. Caliphs and ministers sought his advice, and his books were copied across the Islamic world. Then, in a decisive moment, while explaining a complex legal point, he heard an inner voice say, "You speak of things you do not truly know. You teach a road you have not walked." This is the first sign of awakening, to see that you have lived in an illusion. The illusion that theory is enough. The illusion that outward success brings inner joy. The illusion that having answers means grasping the questions. Al-Ghazali writes, "I looked at my deeds and saw they were aimed at something other than God, and I examined my motive for teaching and found it was not purely for God, but driven by the pursuit of status and the spread of fame." You find that all you do, though it appears fine, useful, and justified, is in fact serving the ego, pleasing others, building an image. You realize you live for the outside, not the inside. This is not defeat. It is birth. It is the start of your real journey, not the journey set by society, family, or expectation. Al-Ghazali grasped that life is not a race to gather trophies, but a journey to discover the true self. The true self is not found outside, but in depth, in the silent place where the heart meets God. How do we reach that depth? How do we pierce the layers of illusion, habit, and fear to touch truth? This is what Al-Ghazali came to know after leaving all and setting out to find himself. At times, we must lose everything to discover who we are. In the year 488, Al-Ghazali did what many called madness. He left all things: his honored post, high pay, wide fame, and even his family. He wore simple clothes and set out into the unknown. This was not escape, it was a meeting with the emptiness that chased him, despite his success. He saw that the answers he sought were not in books or the views of others, but in an honest meeting with himself. He writes that he wavered for months between the pull of desires and the call of the afterlife, and in that time his tongue was tied from teaching. Picture it: the greatest scholar of his day, the man who spoke with confidence on everything, stands before his students and cannot say a word, not because he forgot, but because he discovered he did not truly know what he wished to say. This happens when we stop fleeing from ourselves, when we stop stuffing the void with noise-work trophies and the voices of others. We sit alone and ask, who am I really? What do I truly want? Why am I here? These questions frighten us because we see we lack ready answers. We see that what we called certainty may be imitation, and what we called strength may be only a mask we wore to hide weakness. Yet, in this meeting with emptiness, in this fearsome quiet, something remarkable rises. We begin to hear another voice, deeper than ego, fear and desire, the voice of the soul that knows its home. It does not come from outside. It rises from the deep, from that still place where God is present in the heart. Al-Ghazali heard and chose to follow whatever the cost. When you leave what you know, you find that the way to God does not pass by books, but by the heart. Al-Ghazali set out broken, seeking what he could not yet name. He went to Damascus, Jerusalem, and Mecca, not only searching for holy sites, but for the sanctity born within when the heart meets its maker. In long retreats, he discovered a striking truth. Real knowledge does not come from memorizing and repeating, but from direct tasting. You cannot know honey by reading a recipe, and you cannot know God by merely studying descriptions. He says that he knew with certainty that the people of spiritual path were the true seekers of God, that their way was straight, their conduct sound, their character pure. What exactly did he find? He found another way to live, one not fixed on praise, success, or comparison. A way built on a direct link with God, on honesty with oneself, on love instead of fear. Try this. Sit quietly for 5 minutes. Close your eyes and ask, if no one watched me and no duty pressed me, what would I do? What does my heart really want? Do not force a complex reply, simply listen. Al-Ghazali discovered that his heart said something simple and profound. I want to be near to God, not to feel better than people and not to gain a prize, but because only there do I feel peace. This insight changed all. For the first time, he no longer strove to prove or to obtain. He strove to be what he was made to be, a loving servant of God. In this love, he found what he had sought all his life: tranquility. Tranquility is not the absence of problems, it is the presence of God within them. After years of wandering, Al-Ghazali returned to teaching, but as a new man. He had learned a great secret: life is not a race to win, but a garden to make bloom. He writes in Ihya Ulum al-Din that when the heart turns to God and turns from other things, the chest opens, light shines, and calm flows from every side. This calm does not come from solving every problem, it comes from seeing that trials can teach us. Each pain bears a gift, each loss opens a door to deeper finding. He taught that true joy is not from meeting every desire, but from purifying desire. It is not from getting what we want, but from wanting what we get. It is not from changing the world, but from letting the world change us. And you now, as you listen, I know there is pain in your heart. There is a gap. You try to fill questions, you try to answer wounds, you try to mend. Sometimes you ask, is this all there is? Will I circle the same loop until I die? You are not alone. Many have lived the same story. Some remain in the emptiness, and some choose the road to calm. If you wish to join this journey, begin where he began, with honesty with yourself. Like this video if these words touch your heart. Subscribe if you want to walk this road with us, and write this simple line in the comments if you are ready to begin. My heart seeks tranquility, because admitting the search is the first step to finding. Purification does not mean becoming an angel, it means becoming a real human being. Al-Ghazali knew that the road to God does not pass by denying our nature, but by refining it. The aim is not to kill desire, but to cleanse it of selfishness, greed, and pride. In Mishkat al-Anwar, he likens the human heart to a mirror that can reflect the light of God, but it needs steady cleaning. The more we remove the rust of sin and heedlessness, the more the light appears. He says the heart is like a polished mirror. If it is cleaned, it shines, and if it rusts, it darkens. How do we clean this mirror? First, by being truthful with ourselves, admitting our faults without excuses. Saying, yes, I did this and I chose this. This is not to crush the soul, but to free it, because what we choose, we can change. Second, by true turning back. Turning back is not only regret or guilt, it is a clear choice to change course, to take another road, to become a better version of ourselves. Third, by remembrance and watchfulness. We stay aware of our hearts, re-examine our thoughts, intentions, and motives. We often ask, why am I doing this? What is my real motive? Does this bring me closer to God or pull me away? Try this each night before sleep. Sit for 5 minutes and ask which things today came from love and which from fear or selfishness. Do not judge, simply notice and learn. Al-Ghazali found that this purification is not a one-time act, but a lifelong path. Each day we clean the mirror anew. Each day we choose love over fear, light over dark, God over ego. In this daily choice, in this steady return to the truth, we find the way to calm, True love asks nothing in return. It gives because giving is its nature. In the deepest moments of his path, Al-Ghazali discovered a truth that changed everything. Religion is not only rules and commands, it is a love story between creator and creation. This is not shallow emotion, but something wider and deeper. It is the love that brings the sun each day without asking thanks and sends rain upon earth without sorting the good from the bad. He writes in Ihya Ulam al-Din, whoever knows God loves him, and whoever loves him prefers him, and whoever prefers him turns to him, and whoever turns to him turns away from all else. How do we reach this love? How do we love the one we do not see? Love begins with knowledge, not mere theory, but knowledge of the heart. We see the signs of God in all things, in the beauty of nature, in his kindness to us, despite our errors and gifts we did not earn yet, receive each day. We notice that every breath is a gift, every heartbeat a message of love, that our ability to love and be loved, to laugh and weep, to dream and hope are from his bounty. When we see these gifts and stop taking them for granted, love grows in the heart. It is not love built on fear of punishment or greed for reward, but pure love born of wonder, gratitude, and appreciation. This love changes all. It changes how we see ourselves, others, and life. We stop seeing ourselves as victims, rivals, or enemies, and start seeing as God sees beloved children, learning, growing, returning home. Al-Ghazali knew that such love does not make us weak but strong. It does not make us fearful but brave, because whoever knows he is loved by God does not fear losing the love of people, and whoever trusts God's mercy does not fear his mistakes, and whoever knows God is with him does not fear being alone. In this love, he found the answer to his questions and the healing of his wounds. Wisdom is not in holding answers, but in understanding questions. After years on the road, Al-Ghazali distilled lessons that changed lives through ages. This wisdom is not tangled theory, but practical insight from deep human experience. First wisdom, honesty with oneself. He says the first of knowledge is silence, the second listening, the third memorizing, the fourth acting on it, the fifth sharing it. The first of silence is to stop deceiving ourselves, to stop excusing our faults and hiding our motives. Second wisdom, the difference between need and desire. Most pain comes from mixing what we need with what we want. We need food, yet we want the finest food. We need shelter, yet we want the most beautiful house. We need love, yet we want to be loved by all. When we meet our needs and purify our wants, we find peace. Third wisdom. The present is the only real time. He writes, time is like a sword. If you do not cut it, it cuts you. The aim is not to cram time with busyness, but to live the present with full awareness. The past is gone. The future is not yet here. All we truly have is this moment, and in it we can meet God. Fourth wisdom. Pain is a teacher, not an enemy. His greatest lessons came in pain and loss, not in ease and triumph. Pain breaks masks, lifts illusions, shows what is real, and pushes us to seek deeper than surface pleasures. Fifth wisdom. Service is a path to the self. He said, whoever works for his afterlife, God will suffice him in worldly matters. Working for the afterlife does not mean neglecting the world, but making life a means of serving others, not only feeding the ego. If you choose living in the present, when your mind runs to past or future, gently return to now and ask, what can I feel now? What can I see now? How can I serve God now? In a noisy world, we most need the silence that teaches us to listen. If Al-Ghazali lived today in the era of social media, constant comparison, and the chase for visible success, what would he say? He would say, the problem remains. We still run from ourselves, only with more skill. We still try to fill the inner gap with outer things, but those things are faster, more numerous, and less satisfying. In his age, many sought meaning in books and debate. Today we seek it in likes, followers, and career wins. Then the danger was intellectual pride. Now it is digital pride. The remedy is the same: return inward, be honest with yourself. Seek God in the heart, not in the praise of others. He would remind us that true joy is not measured by outward markers, not by the count of friends, nor the salary, nor the beauty of house or clothes. True joy is measured by the peace we feel when we sit alone, In a world that urges constant busyness, he would remind us of the holy quiet where the soul can breathe, the heart can remember, and the conscience can speak. His message to the young: do not fear being different. Do not fear to stop the chase. Do not fear to ask why. Do not fear to say, I do not know. This courage before ignorance is the beginning of wisdom. His message to adults: it is never too late to start anew. Never too late to pardon yourselves and others, never too late to seek the real meaning of your life. Age is only a number, while the soul is enduring. His message to families: make your homes small mosques, not only by prayer but by love, honesty, and forgiveness. Teach your children to hear their hearts before the noise of the world. In the end, all roads lead to one place. Home is not a location, but a state of being. When Al-Ghazali finished his long road and returned to teaching, he was no longer the man who left Baghdad. He no longer taught from pride or a need for acclaim, but from mercy and care for his students. He no longer spoke of things he had read, but of things he had lived. This is the gap between knowledge and wisdom, between information and realization. Information tells us about things, wisdom shows how to live with them. Information fills the head, realization purifies the heart. He says at the close of Al-Munqid, Min ad dalal, with God is success, he is enough for me, and he is the best disposer of affairs. This is not a routine line. It sums up what he learned, that success is from God, and calm comes from reliance on him. And you, after this walk with Al-Ghazali, are not the same as when you began. Something has shifted. You may not feel it yet, but a seed has been planted. The seed of seeking real meaning, the seed of longing for calm. Final lessons from his journey: do not fear loss, since loss can lead to finding. Do not rush results, since the soul grows slowly like a great tree. Listen to your heart, since it knows the way home even when the mind is lost. Remember that every pain bears a gift, and every fall can teach us to rise. Know that the road to God is not outside. It is inward to the still place where peace lives. A final practice each night: ask, what did I learn about myself today? Where did I see God today? How can I be closer to him tomorrow? Do not seek complex answers. The simplest are often the truest. The journey of Al-Ghazali did not end with his death. It continues in every heart that seeks truth, and every soul that longs for calm, and each person who chooses honesty with himself. Your journey begins now. It starts with one step to say with sincerity, I want to know who I truly am, and I want to find my way to calm. This is all you need to begin, this true intention, this simple choice, this quiet longing in your heart. The rest will come, God willing. The rest is in his hands, and he does not let down those who seek him with sincerity. Our last prayer: all praise is due to God, the Lord of the worlds. And if these words stirred something in, you know that what we touched here is the doorway to a deeper question we explored in our previous video.